What are you looking for? I'm looking for my sandals. Because I have my flats on here too. But there's some slides right here. No, it's because there's...
The night air was thick with tension and the bitter scent of burnt rubber as the flashing red and blue lights illuminated the damaged vehicle resting askew near the curb. The front bumper hung partially detached, the front wheel visibly bent inward, and shattered glass littered the street. A young woman stood nearby, her body swaying gently as if guided by invisible tides. Her name was Melissa, and just moments earlier, she had been behind the wheel of that wrecked car. An officer approached her calmly but with deliberate caution. "All right," he said, "let's just start with some simple instructions, okay?" Melissa, dressed in sandals and visibly disoriented, nodded and tried to keep her balance. Touching heel to toe, she asked uncertainly, trying to line up her feet but wobbling. "Stay like that," her voice slurred slightly, her tone flickering between confusion and compliance. "Yes, stay like that," the officer instructed. "Don't start until I tell you. I'm going to demonstrate first, then I'll ask you to begin." Despite multiple reminders to maintain her position, Melissa kept shifting and moving, her concentration broken every few seconds. She talked about her sandals, the slide of the ground, and how her heels were uneven. The officer listened patiently, redirecting her each time. They tried to begin the standardized field sobriety tests. First, the horizontal gaze nystagmus. "Keep your head still," the officer said. "Just follow with your eyes." Melissa struggled to focus, her eyes darting and blinking as if attempting to stay anchored in reality. She nodded, then murmured, I'm okay," more to herself than to anyone else. The next test was the walk and turn. The officer carefully demonstrated how to place the left foot on a line, put the right foot directly in front, heel to toe, and keep arms at her side. "When I tell you to start, not now," he said. "You'll take 9 heel-to-toe steps, count out loud, then do a small series of steps to turn around, and take 9 more back." Melissa nodded, eyes glazed, and began prematurely before being corrected. She stepped off the line, lost her balance, and talked over the instructions. 1, 2, 3, she mumbled, then turned the wrong way, faltered, and looked around nervously. Then came the one-leg stand. The officer showed her how to lift 1 foot 6 inches off the ground, arms at her sides, and count aloud. Melissa, shivering slightly, struggled to remain upright. 1001, 1006, she slurred, her count jumping erratically as she swayed and lowered her foot repeatedly. The officer let her try for a few moments before stopping the test. By now, Melissa's demeanor was oscillating between apologetic and distracted. She talked about her flight scheduled for tomorrow, her sister's birthday, and needing to catch a plane at 4 p.m. "You should see the judge this afternoon," the officer told her gently. "But I can't guarantee you'll make your flight." As officers searched the vehicle, they found her wallet and personal belongings scattered. The officer noted, "There's a wallet in the passenger seat," and confirmed that her ID matched the information provided. Another officer mentioned needing a witness signature as they completed paperwork. At one point, Melissa tried to call someone. "My friend, the one I just dropped off," she explained, clutching her phone. Officers instructed her to hang up and focus on the investigation. She resisted slightly, mumbling, "I'll call later," then dropped the phone reluctantly. The breathalyzer test was next, but due to the crash, the protocol required medical clearance before processing. "Since you were in an accident, we need to take you to the hospital to make sure you're medically cleared," the officer explained. Melissa appeared dazed but nodded. Later, in the booking area, she was asked to open her mouth and lift her tongue. She complied, cooperating in a tired, almost defeated manner. "This is my first one," she said softly. Her voice broke slightly as she mentioned her father, and how ashamed he would be. "He's in law enforcement," she whispered, "he's gonna kill me." While she waited to be transported to the hospital, officers chatted quietly. One noted that she seemed possessed at one point, rising up and collapsing, mumbling things incoherently during the field test. Another remarked, "She's lucky she didn't get more hurt." A tone of concern laced their casual remarks. Behind the procedural routine, there was still human empathy. Outside, Melissa's friend, who had been dropped off earlier, recounted his version of events to an officer. "She was insisting on driving herself home," he said. "I tried to get her to stay at my place, but she said no. I even offered to go with her, but she didn't want that either. He admitted they had gone to a bar and then to an after-party before she decided to leave alone. The damage to the car was substantial. Front bumpers gone, wheel bent, windshield cracked, he described. She hit a tree, I think. The officer sighed, nodding. It was a familiar story in this line of work. Young people pushing their limits, alcohol clouding judgment, and consequences crashing down before they could react. Inside the medical facility, the attending staff confirmed she was medically fit for confinement. Clear for confinement, they stated plainly. Melissa, now quiet and nearly dozing off in a wheelchair, was wheeled out and loaded back into the patrol vehicle. One officer looked at her and muttered, "She's gonna wake up and feel silly." Another shook his head. She wanted to be a heart surgeon. Said she was studying cardiothoracics. Hope this doesn't throw her off track. As they prepared to transport her to jail, officers wrapped up their paperwork and organized her belongings. Her purse would be left at the station, and her backpack was retrieved from the tow yard since the detention center wouldn't accept extra personal items. They made arrangements so that if she was released in time, she could still collect her things and possibly make her flight, though everyone knew the odds were slim. Outside, another accident was being reported. Dispatch crackled over the radio. White SUV hit a light pole, 3 occupants, unknown injuries. One officer glanced at the report and said, "Another one, that's the third tonight." As the night dragged on and the city rested uneasily under the watch of law enforcement, Melissa's story became one more case number in the system, a night of poor choices, illuminated in the harsh glow of headlights and flashing lights, echoing through the corridors of responsibility, regret, and consequence.